Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Nana Space and you're currently watching a review of New Amsterdam Season 4 Episode 8 titled Paid in Full. Before we get into it, thank you for all who have subscribed. You've now gone past 100 subscribers. Guys, thank you for the comments. I've been getting comments about translating to Spanish and Portuguese. I'm still looking into it. Hopefully we'll get there soon and I'll put some subtitles through for you guys. But in the meantime, as I've been doing, just put your comment in whatever language and I'll see if I can get it translated and reply to you in a language that you can understand. Let's get the conversation going in there for the meantime. But let's get into this episode. And there's only one name on my mind and that's Casey. Let's start from the beginning. So we start off with Max and Helen trying to pack their house for moving. Which sounds weird. It really does sound weird. And the growth in Max really has come quite full circle, I have to say. Because Max moving with Helen was verbal, but to actually see them packing makes it real. Remember, Georgia reduced Max to the couch because he had taken a job at New Amsterdam. Didn't bother telling her. She found out later, got really ticked off. And Max wouldn't change his life for her. She had to move. Versus Max wanting to move for Helen. That's progress. The Max that could not choose. That required triaging from Helen to the Max today who will say, we choose us, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is progress. And I see people talking about it online, and I am here for it. Now, Fortis, Veronica, I don't blame anyone. I blame Bruntley, Karen, for doing this. This woman is out here to get Max and everyone that is about Max up at that door. So this episode reminds me of when the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, got hacked in 2017, I believe. And we were held at a ransom. Like most of our systems, everything is electronic, so we couldn't do ward stuff. At that time I wasn't working. I just finished my 1-year hospital placement, thank God. But I remember things were not working, softwares were malfunctioning. We had to now go to paperwork as opposed to digital stuff. And this is what was depicted in this series. The malware apparently from Russia with a bunny and wanted money, $10 million. And somehow Fortis' plan was if Max signed the new budget, she would try and find the money to pay the ransom. Now, the caveat to this new budget is that Iggy will lose a job, Reynolds will lose a job, Bloom will lose a job. That's a caveat. She claimed that it's top heavy and they need to go. Well, Max is also going. So guess what? When Max is gone, these people will have no legs to stand on, and she's not here for it. Anyone who is here for Max has to go, and that's literally what she planned. So Max decided to play ball and agreed to shift some people, albeit not the main cast, but to shift some people who we'll talk about later. So we pan to Bloom and Casey talking about the rota and how somehow it looks dodgy because there's more doctors than nurses and doesn't add up. Workforce planning, they look at the work needed and the skill set needed and how many of those skill sets are needed. So if the work is nurse heavy, there's no point having so many doctors who are not going to be doing that job. If it's a nurse-led job, you don't expect to have that many doctors and vice versa. So Bloom was trying to be smart, trying to insult Casey for not having smart brains to work out the maths. Dude worked out and saw that the reason why it is very skewed is because of Layla. And he confronted Bloom about it. Bloom was about to lie about it, then admitted it, and then he asked, does Layla know? And she was like, no. But you know, I'm just trying to raise money for the charity, don't tell anyone, blah, blah. That was all well and okay. Until we find out that Casey has lost his job at the end. The look on his face. I mean, if this guy works out that he's lost his job and Layla has her job, Bloom, we all knew this was coming. We all knew this was coming. Lauren, unfortunately, if you make your bed, you have to lie in it. I'm sorry. The bomb that is about to hit you. I didn't see this one coming from Casey though, but yikes. Ooh. Yeah. No. Not good. Not good at all. And so the malfunction had gone on that there was a patient who had a pacemaker in and he needed check. So they said they could do it virtually. So he was, somewhere doing his normal job and they were checking it in the hospital and the machine malfunctioned and so he was getting regular shocks. So they have to put a manual machine to be doing the chest compressions until they try and work it out. So the theater going on with Floyd and Dr. Baptiste, who somehow become besties. I have no idea. I don't know where Lynn was and whether Lynn lost her job. But they seem to be getting on very well. They got each other's vibe. And it turned out at the end that Dr. Baptiste also lost his job. Dr. Cow, Naomi Cow, the chair of neurology, who Helen was coaching and kind of nursing to take on, I think, the oncology post. She also lost her job, but before she lost her job, they were trying to administer chemo, methotrexate, through the patient's spine, and that was automated to the pharmacy and syringe drivers and everything, and that also malfunctioned, meaning that the patient got 5 times the dose she needed, and she almost died. She didn't die. Iggy's patient knew very well that he was allergic to a particular medication, and when they asked people, this was my favorite, this was hilarious. So obviously the machine is broken, they don't know whose medication is what, and everyone had to come and tell what they take. And the people that came in, those who were talking about the pain, there was one guy who was talking about how the medication made him feel lula, duda, and at some point it made him feel like cuckoos. Who can work out the medication from this description? Like who? I couldn't stop laughing. And one person clueless. Some thought it was a purple medication, but then they changed it. I mean, if you know a thing or two about pharmacy, or pharmaceutical stuff, the drugs sometimes will be purple in a package, and the next year they will change it and it's now blue. So all the tablets are becoming blue. Like, who knows? Who knows? How do you work out? Some drugs are non-negotiable, like something like warfarin. At least here I know that, the browns are always 1, the blues are always 5, the pinks are always 3, the whites are always 0.5. Like, they don't negotiate on those colors. Like, manufacture is universal. Just like Viagra is a blue pill. When it was branded with Pfizer, everyone knew what a blue pill was. But there's some other drugs that the manufacturers do change the colors, preparation, whatever flavor of the month, or whatever color they have, or whatever dye they have left. They mix it in. As long as the content or the ingredient is the same, the excipient and things, sometimes they meddle with those a little bit with the preparation. And so they couldn't work it out. And then this guy was apparently trying to kill himself, and that was the route that he chose. And somehow, Iggy, had a good bonding moment with him, try and understand where he was coming from, and that kind of, was resolved. They found alternative ways for him to cope with what was polite enough for him to kill himself with something he's not allowed to take. Next week, I think it's foreign land or something along those lines. I presume they will be in London next episode, maybe, because it was meant to be 2 weeks till they go. So I don't know whether we are the timeline is accurate, like we are week by week with them, or that they are ahead of us. I don't know. I'm still yet to find out about Luna's grandparents, their input. I haven't heard anything. It will be awkward or weird for them to go and then grandparent stuff come later. So I'm hoping the next episode they will talk about grandparents in some shape or form. Fuertes need to go. That woman is not good news. Who is to say that she was not behind the hacking to start with, just to mess with Max? Who is to say? Who is to say that she didn't orchestrate this whole thing to get Max to sign? And then when Max played ball, she was like, oh, I didn't say that I was going to get you the money. I said I would try. So you got Max to sign away his friends, and you basically twisted his arm. And since when did America start paying ransoms? I thought the FBI don't play ball like that with hackers and terrorist organizations. Like, anyway, who knows? Bottom line, cybersecurity is important. So the promo from last week, which I talked about a little bit, was the fact that Max and Helen were sat basically consoling each other. So Helen was holding Max's hand and like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. In the background was a password, which now I get that you have to be protective of this information, because putting them out there in the whole world, now we all know. So if you want to hack them, it makes them vulnerable, which was very smart of them, the way they did it. So protect your online details. You know, these days things are flying in the air, and the next war that is coming, it's not going to be a physical gun shots and bombs. It's going to be a cyber attack. You'll be sat in your room and be attacked. Your data, your information is out there. So protect your details, protect your passwords, your login information. Don't share them. Surely don't be putting them on social media like what they had done with the promo for this episode. I can see Brantley in the new promo. I don't know what Layla will say or how she'll feel if she find out, because she did question Bloom about this whole thing, and Bloom lied, and then now admitted to Casey despite lying, and now Casey has lost his job. So it's going to be very interesting to see where we go from this next week. Bloom, you need to come clean with everyone and hopefully expose Fuertes, because that is against the rules. She needs to lose her job for what she did with trying to blackmail you with the money. What you did wasn't right, but two wrongs don't make a right either. So she needs to go. Lady needs to go. And Brantley should, where is Dr. Wilder? What happened to her? When is she coming in? They better bring her in. I look forward to seeing them go to London. I heard they're filmed in New York, but I can see some kebab stands in some of the promo pictures, and it'll be interesting. It'll be change of scenery. Hopefully we get to know a bit more about Helen. Hopefully we get to see another side of Max in uncharted territories, and how he navigates those waters, and how Grandma, Helen's mother, will perceive or receive this new baggage at Max and the daughter. So you're normally coming back with a guy and his daughter, and he's not married to you. Let's see how that pans out. Well, that's it for today. Let's get the conversation going as always. Share, like, comment, subscribe, so that when we put a video up, you get to see. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.